What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about my 5 best moments, or the 5 biggest moments in Batman Arkham Asylum. Now, this is a video that I thought up about a couple of weeks ago, and this kind of goes in line with what I talked about last week, that this is something I totally want to start doing more of, these kind of videos. I think they're going to be very different. I think they're going to be really cool. I'm still 100% going to talk about the new Batman Arkham game, and I'm going to probably be doing maybe one video talking about that, and then another video just talking about something else superhero gamey / Batman related. And last week, again, we talked about 5 superhero games I'd want besides Batman Arkham, and so that was kind of the start of it. And then this week, again, I want to talk about this. Now, and again, this is a video that I just kind of thought up of a little while ago. They're not necessarily, and I'll go through each one, they're not necessarily going to be specific moments. Some of them are, some of them are not. But we're going to, again, go over my 5 biggest or favorite, whatever kind of a way you want to describe it. And I 100% want to hear what you guys think in the comments below as well. And also, if you like this kind of video, I know a lot of people have been saying, stop talking about the new Batman Arkham game. Well, I'm going to try and do both. So if you guys like these kind of videos instead, make sure you guys like this video, make sure you guys are commenting, make sure you guys are subscribed and have that bell icon rung, all that kind of stuff to show me that you like this kind of video. Okay, let's go over. We're going to start at number 5 and we're going to go to number 1. So it is a top 5 list. My number 5 is not a specific moment, but you could probably look at a couple moments in the game, is the open room predator scenes. And this is basically what I'm trying to say, is when the game really starts to open up, not necessarily the beginning of the game, not really even, I'd say, the first third of the game, but when you really get to go into a room or an area like the library. Remember the library scene? That one is a really good example of what I'm talking about, where there's plenty of enemies, there's different floor levels, there's different ways of hiding and moving around. And, you know, we talked a lot about how these games have advanced from one game to the next, and Asylum really started it all off, and I really felt like, in a way, it's still pretty darn special in that you really feel confined and that you are like a predator hunting these guys. I think a game like maybe Arkham Knight, one of the weaknesses of that game, besides the obvious big ones, is the fact that, yes, because it is so large, and I love traversing the world, but you tend to be able to, like, if you can't fight a big group of guys, or if you get spotted by somebody when you're doing your kind of hunting around, trying to remain in the shadows, you can just fly away, right? You can call a Batmobile up and you could drive, like, you could do a lot of things to escape. This game, again, back to the original, you really felt enclosed, and you really felt like, though, there was plenty to do to hide, to not be seen, and to take these guys out one at a time. There weren't necessarily 1,000 ways to do it, which you could look at as a weakness, but I think overall, for what it was worth, it really made you feel like those guys were the hunted and you're the hunter. And easily, again, there's multiple moments in the game that felt like that, but definitely when the game starts to open up and you get to bigger rooms, again, multiple layers of floors, multiple enemies, 5, 10, 15 enemies, or they would come in waves too, right? You would get rid of one and then a new batch would come in. Those are easily some of my favorite moments in this game. The fourth one, I don't necessarily think I'm in the majority viewpoint here. I've always said I love Killer Croc in this game, and I love the Killer Croc fight, and that's what number 4 is, the Killer Croc fight. I don't think too many people agree. I have seen people that say, yeah, they really like that. I've seen people say that they really don't like that. I always looked at Killer Croc as one of the better examples of how to do a boss fight in Arkham. I don't think it's the best boss fight we've ever had, but the Arkham franchise in general is very, I think, spotty. Origins has a lot of good ones. I'd say Arkham City had some pretty solid ones. Even Arkham Knight was definitely very iffy with boss fights, but that was more about expanding the missions and lore of these characters, both characters we know, like Two-Face and Penguin, or characters we've never seen before, like Firefly. It was trying to do something different, but Arkham Asylum, kind of the same thing. Not every boss fight is the greatest, but I always looked at Killer Croc as like, this is how you do it. Like, yes, it's a little bit repetitive. It's the same kind of formula of how to take him out. Joker definitely takes that to a whole new level at the end of the game, right? It's just the exact same thing over and over. Killer Croc is kind of like that, but I always felt very, scared. I think you're pretty safe, especially if you know how to play this game, especially if you play it a couple times. You're not gonna get destroyed, right? But it was kind of like you felt like it. Now the tables were turned, right? Because now you're in his home. The whole thing is water, right? And this is how he lives. This is his place that he's dominant. And so it really made the boss fight feel like impactful, right? Where like you kind of felt like, and that is, I guess, sometimes the goal of boss fights is to make Batman feel like he's the weaker. He has to figure out what to do to defeat enemies in their strengths, whether it be the area or just in something that they're very good at. And I think Killer Croc is a very good example. I've always loved this boss fight. I've always felt very scared and tense in this boss fight. I think it does it better than a lot of the other boss fights in the entire series, basically, of Arkham. Number 3 is kind of both what number 4 and number 5 were. It's specific, but it's also not that specific. It's all the Scarecrow scenes, okay? I think maybe you could even say, and this isn't my number 1, but when the game breaks itself, and it literally makes you feel like there was an error. Now, when I bought this game, I believe I was 13 years old. Not super young. I'm sure there's people that are watching that are around that age. Some people are older, some people are younger. But I legitimately thought something happened. When the screen started to go in and out and like the lines started to go through the screen, I was very close. Let me tell you, if I could paint you a picture, I was very close to restarting my PlayStation, popping the disc out. In fact, I feel like I remember myself going for the button to pop the disc out. I was very close to doing that. And that was kind of just that age, right? Because it's like, it really made you think like that happened. And that was an amazing, amazing scene. And really all of the Scarecrow scenes overall, because they felt, again, very like eerie, very dark, very different. We've never seen something like that before. And then when those happened, when we were transported, it's like Bruce Wayne walking to his parents, like all of those scenes, I'd say those are the best moments. The actual what you're doing in Scarecrow, like in that world, it's pretty good. I don't think it's like the most amazing thing in the world, but they're definitely very, very enjoyable scenes. I don't necessarily know if those scenes themselves, or, you know, when you're trying to basically hide from his like spotlights, it's not the greatest thing. I wouldn't say those are my favorite moments, but putting them all together, they definitely don't weaken anything. And I think the moments getting up to it, you know, when he basically, you know, how he stabs you, but you don't really see that until the end when he's right in front of you and like Batman's got him choked out and stuff like that. I mean, those are just amazing. Or when you're opening the coffins and you see your parents and they like sit up to talk to you, you see Gordon and he's dead, and you even have to talk to Barbara and say like, hey, he's gone. It was like, wow, like they killed him like this early in the first game. Like, I don't even know where this is going. I think it caught a lot of people off guard, and especially, like I said, you know, the whole breaking the game thing. I don't really think it can do itself. Or when you're constantly switching back between Joker and Batman, loads of amazing things. Scarecrow is easily one of the best characters in this game. I feel like that's why they felt like, hey, we can make this work as him with the main villain of Night. And again, we've talked about it. I think they did a pretty solid job. The biggest mistakes were taking the screen time away from Scarecrow in Arkham Knight and replacing it with the Arkham Knight himself or Joker. I think that was the weakest part. But those were absolutely some of my very favorite moments in Batman Arkham Asylum. Number 2 is a very specific scene that I think a lot of people know, is when you fly into the Batcave. And it's more about what this scene means, and it's more about what you guys, and I'm trying to even take what you guys have said to me in the comments and stuff into consideration. It's very clear people want the Batcave to return. Okay, we didn't get it in Arkham City. We didn't get it in Arkham Knight. We got it in Asylum. We got to see a little bit of it. Okay, I wouldn't say we got the grand tour. I wouldn't say they did as much with it as they could have. But that moment when you're flying down, basically on like the side of the island, and you go into his Batcave, very, very, very cool moment. There's honestly not much more to like other than just literally how it looked. It was a very cool moment in the game, and again, more about what it means as well, in that we've never gotten a return there, or we've never, not even just a return, we've never gotten like a fleshing out of the Batcave in general, or anything that Batman has. You know, we've gotten to see like his manor, like his house, but that was at the end of Arkham Knight. It exploded, so we didn't really again get to see like the grand tour of it. So I think it's just something that is special to people because it's one of the only times, if not the only time, we saw it, and it's just something that we'd like to see return and expanded upon in future games. And until, you know, up until now, we haven't. I think that's just why it means so much to so many people in Asylum. And my number 1 moment, this is the first thing that I wrote. I wrote these down, by the way. I heard a lot of people saying, you know, you should write some of the stuff down for these lists, for these kind of ideas. I do actually write this down, but this was the first one I wrote. My number 1, also the first one I thought of when I thought of this video, is the beginning. Okay, the beginning of this game, I'd love to say the end because I think there's a lot to like about the end, and I think there's a lot to absolutely hate about the ending of this game. When it comes to the beginning of this game, it's iconic. It's iconic. I use it a lot in the videos I make for you guys. It's my favorite scene. I would literally probably now I've beaten Arkham Asylum like 5 times, which doesn't sound like a lot. I'm sure some of you have been like, I've beaten it like 30. I don't beat any game like ever, okay? It's very rare if I beat a game twice. So beating a game 5 times is just completely unheard of with me. I've beaten this game a lot. I would probably say I could restart this game and play it just for the first hour because I think there's just something so special in seeing the world, like walking with the Joker. Even though you're literally just walking, it's just him talking. It's so special because it's like they're nailing it. Like, I believe it. I believe I'm Batman. I believe he's Joker. Mark Hamill does such a good job. He escapes. Everything kind of just goes crazy, right? Everybody just freaks out. The inmates are running the asylum now with Joker at the head. You see some of the, you haven't seen Scarecrow yet, but you see Killer Croc. So you start to see that there are characters. I think within the first hour, the Riddler, you get to hear him and stuff. So they do plenty of stuff in the first hour to literally just bust open this game. And I think out of all of the games, and I've always said, Asylum is my favorite. City is the one that I think is overall the best. And then Night, I actually have a lot of love for Night, and I also think there's a lot of things they did wrong with it. But when I think of and Origins is a fantastic game too. I know I don't mention it as much and people maybe get mad, but I love Origins. But when I think of all 4 of the games, I think if I had to pick a specific, if I get to say like I can play this time period of any of the games, I honestly feel like the first 20 minutes of Arkham Asylum would be my go-to. I think there's actually really amazing scenes in City, really amazing scenes in Night, really amazing scenes in Origins, but there's just something about the very beginning of Arkham Asylum that will always stick with me. It's one of my favorite scenes in any video game ever, and it easily made my #1. And again, when I think of the whole trilogy, or even like all 4 of them, if you want to put in Warner Bros. Montreal, easily, I'd say it's also my favorite. But again, guys, I want to hear in the comments below what are your favorite moments of this game, and also what kind of videos like this do you want me to do next? Do you want me to do maybe the 5 worst moments of the game? Do you want me to do these again for City, Night, and Origins? And let me know just in general what other kinds of videos you want to see me do. Again, I may go every other. I may do like one video on the new game talking about a leak, a rumor, or just like speculation of what I want to see in the game. It could just be a discussion topic. And then maybe the next video could be something like I did today, something we did last week with the superhero games. So I definitely want to do this kind of stuff moving forward. But again, you got to show me that you like it and support it. So make sure you guys are liking it. Even if you dislike it, that's still an engagement. So everybody that dislikes it or leaves a negative comment, still an engagement for me. So keep it coming. But make sure you guys are liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff. And let me know, again, what you want to see going forward from these Batman videos. We obviously cover so much more than Batman in general on the channel. So if you guys are ever looking for different games just in the first place, we definitely have those as well. Okay, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.